Hi there and welcome to a brand new show, Talking Dirt, powered by Monster Energy, the official talk show of the FIM World Speedway Championships. I'm Nigel Pearson, I'm your host for the next half an hour. We're going to have studio chat and we're in Wrocław with our roving reporter, Kiri Bloor trackside.
Thanks so much, Nigel. Yes, we have made it to a very windy Wrocław here in this beautiful city. Well, times are definitely very strange and there's going to be plenty of masks worn. But don't worry, we will still be having all of the action of the Speedway. So it's about time I got out of the wind and headed down to that stadium.
So, coming up, Greg Hancock joins us from his home in the USA, taking a look back on last night's action. Kelvin Tatum brings us his Tech Talk series. We take a look back as we open up our vaults. And Kiri brings us all the news and views from around the globe in Planet Speedway. Talking Dirt goes on four wheels to Sweden as we talk all things electric with Mr. Ken Block. And in Warrior Watch, we put the questions to Australia's Darcy Ward. For the past week, you've been sending in your videos after Ty Wuffenden set us all a challenge.
Hey guys, hashtag Woofy Challenge. Put your videos on Instagram and Twitter and we're going to pick out a lucky winner for a signed race jacket at Wrocław GP.
The winner and time will be announced at the end of the show. So the action got underway last night with round one of the World Speedway Championship in Wrocław, Poland. And to react to the action, we're joined now by the legendary four-times World Speedway champion Greg Hancock from his home in the USA. Greg, thank you very much indeed for joining us live from Northern California. It is really good to catch up with you. Looking ahead to tonight's round two in Wrocław, who are the men to watch? Who are we looking out for tonight, Greg?
Well, hey, first of all, great to see you too, Nige, and what a show it was last night. So setting the stage, I have to say, with the speed of Artem Laguda last night and the confidence that guy's shown this year, he's got to be the man to beat this year without a doubt. But, you know, for me, like I said earlier in the promotion for this thing, Ty Wuffenden, Maciej Janowski, and even Leon Madsen. I mean, those guys are. It's going to be hard to say, but I think Artem's going to be the guy to beat.
Yeah, I mean, last night he was so fast in those four straight wins, in the first four straight wins that he got there. The speed that he had there was phenomenal. I mean, he wasn't just winning races; he was streets ahead, wasn't he, Greg?
Oh, he was, and you see his starts. I mean, you guys know I'm a fan for making starts, and that was always my kind of best point. But watching him, and I see his body movements and how he sits on the bike, his throttle, his clutch control, and the dude is just he's like, he doesn't miss a beat. He's got it dialed. And what about his race times, man? He was so consistent most of the night with 62 to 62.4 seconds, and then throws a 62 in the final at the end of the night when the track's at its worst. And the dude must have been fastest time of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a phenomenal performance. But a little story, a subplot from last night as well was Fast Freddy, you know. I mean, he'd only got 7 points and he just nicked a place in the semi-finals and then he makes it all the way to the final. So, and he ends up with 16 points under the new scoring system. It's quite a story for Freddy, isn't it?
You know what? I mean, a Swedish friend of mine was traveling up here with me and he said, Freddie's the dark horse, and he had 7 points, got, scraped in, but the beauty of the format, you've only got to get there, and the dude comes out in third place with 16 points. It just shows you it's not over until it's over, and Freddie's a dude that runs to the checker flag.
Yeah, and also he was a bit of a lucky boy when that crash occurred, because I thought Ty did a great job laying the bike down to avoid what could have been a really bad injury.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Freddie's a go-getter, and he never gives up, as you saw there. That accident could have been a lot worse, but the dude's got so much control. He managed to make it work, so he didn't go down too hard. And Zmarzlik, I mean, that could have been really ugly for him too. But, those guys, they're the world's best riders, and it showed in that heat that those dudes did everything they could to stay evasive, and glad nobody got hurt.
It's just fantastic to see Grand Prix Speedway back, Greg, isn't it? Because after the year everybody's had, just to see the top table of World Speedway back in action, the world's top riders, I think it's just given everybody a boost. Would you agree with that?
Dude, it gave me a boost. I'm so excited, and I've been watching the Polish League and some of the Swedish League, and we all missed the Grand Prix, but seeing this now, I felt that my stomach started to turn and I started to get nervous, especially, watching Ty and watching Maciej. I got a little bit nervous at the starts in the semifinals because I suddenly was in the race with them. I was watching what they were doing on the track, where they're digging, how they're sitting. And I was like, man, it's just like it never leaves. It never leaves you.
Yeah, once a racer, always a racer, Greg, I guess. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, and just looking forward to tonight once again. It's a new dynamic for the series that we're having back-to-back Grand Prix, Friday, Saturday. So the boys that did so well last night will feel confident tonight. But boys like Niels and Antonio and Doyley, you know, they've got to get it right fast tonight. They've got to recover quickly within, 24 hours after last night's event.
Dude, you know what? I mean, seeing what those guys had to go through, and as I understand, the weather was, a little bit iffy going into the later parts of last night's event. So let's see what the track conditions are going to be like tonight. But these guys, I mean, they're professionals, and you have to be quick, especially someone, like Everson, right? You feel so bad for the guys, had such a horrible start to his year, and he's got everything to gain now. So let's hope that he can turn it around. A fresh night last night after that round, kind of getting himself motivated again, back on the bike, feeling good, and turn it around tonight, because, he's one of the world's best racers, and you don't like to see a guy like that have a night like that.
Brilliant. Well, 4 times world champion, appearing live on Talking Dirt, powered by Monster Energy. Greg Hancock, always a pleasure, always a delight. Thank you for joining us, my friend, and enjoy tonight's meeting.
I sure will. Great to see you guys. Everybody, stay cool, stay safe, and I can't wait to see you all again soon.
Thanks so much, Greg. It really has been great to catch up with you, and we'll talk to you next time on Talking Dirt, powered by Monster Energy. Now it's time to take a look at the standings after last night's opening round of the series. 20 points for Artem Laguta under the point system for this year, of course. Matsianovsky, the home hero, on 18. Freddie Lindgren, the big winner, on 16 points after qualifying only on 7 points from 5 rides. Ty Woffenham 14, Leon Madsen 12 and Bartosz Szmarstik 11. The top 6, remember, automatically booked their place for the 2021 Grand Prix Series. Lower down the order, a tough night for Antonio Limbach with just a 1 point. Max Frick in his first full season as a Grand Prix rider, just a couple of points. And Niels Christian Everson, injury hit this season, only 3 points. Also, Patrick Dudek and Jason Doyle, who went head-to-head for the 2017 world title with 5 and 6 points respectively. A tough night for them. Now on Talking Dirt, it's time to delve into the Speedway Grand Prix archives with the Volts. Superb! Here goes Pedersen up the inside. Oh!
Big crash coming through the last corner. Pedersen dives up the inside. Zagar incensed. Oh, it's all kicking off there.
A little discussion here now. And it's still very, very tense. Krista Gardell trying to get involved there to separate them. And Zagar quite clearly fuming here down in the pits area.
They're knocking elbows, Kel. They are indeed. Oh, looks like it's escalating, so good enough. Not letting go. Oh, what's going on here? There we go. Tell you what, emotions running high. Breaker. Wow. Well, I didn't see. Oh, good right hook there from Nichols. No doubt about it.
Oh, man, tensions are high in the camps. Look at both teams are out on the racetrack.
Yeah, they can make Pedersen makes the start. Oh!
Oh, down drama. Nicky goes down after making the start.
The decision is for all 4 riders back. And Pedersen and Holder having words here. Controversy, drama in the extreme. Well, it's all kicking off here in Torrent. The world title is on the line, and this is getting silly now. How much more dramatic can it get, sir? Nicky Pedersen, just pure box office. Well, now let's talk setup. 2 words used by nearly every rider, of course. And what is it, setup? Well, here's Kelvin Tatum to tell us more.
Hi everyone and welcome to Tatum's Tech Talk. The 2020 World Championship is almost upon us, it's just around the corner. And we thought this was a great opportunity to talk more about the Speedway bike, and specifically about the setup of a Speedway bike. Apologies to those who are involved in the business and know all about this, but there are plenty out there that this is going to give you just a little bit more insight and help you when you're watching a Grand Prix. We hear from Grand Prix riders all the time these days about how hard the setup is to find.
It's very tough, you know, today because we're a little bit struggling with the setup.
Not really got the right thing underneath me to allow me to do the job. I'm riding a little bit harder than I normally do to try and make up for that.
I wanted to start by focusing in on the gearing. A Speedway bike doesn't have a gearbox and it only just has the one gear. And to change that gearing, you need to change the size of the sprockets. Here we've just got a few to show you. You can see here we've got some smaller ones and some slightly larger ones. There is a whole range to enable you to cope with all different types of tracks. The initial sprocket that you will choose will be determined by the size of the track. The weather may have been inclement and the track is grippy and heavy, so therefore you would then actually introduce a slightly larger sprocket, because then you want to actually increase the RPM on the engine. If you don't do that, the bike's lazy, lethargic and difficult to ride. And of course the opposite can apply. If it's been red hot, we've had a heat wave recently, conditions would be slick, no grip on the track at all. That's when you would actually then reduce the size of the sprocket. And the reason you would do that is that then the engine won't be over revving. If you're over revving out on the track, of course you're then getting too much wheel spin and you're not generating enough speed out there, and that's not what you want. You're going to be very vulnerable. That's the sort of mindset and the thought process you'll be going through prior to the event beginning. But as the evening unfolds, the track will evolve, and there's almost certainly a point, potentially after a couple of rides, that you would look to change the gearing again. You're looking over the safety fence, dirt's moving out, not quite as much grip. You'll then probably introduce a slightly smaller sprocket again to make sure that you keep that engine running in exactly the right RPM range. Gearing is something that you will always be thinking about all the time you're riding. Get it right, you're winning races. Miss out, you're going to find it a hard night. Gearing, all important.
Thanks, Kelv. Now, in Warrior Watch, we put questions to our stars of the Shale, and our first guest is the former double World Under-21 champion, Darcy Ward. Sadly, of course, Darcy's career was ended early 5 years ago after a track crash in Poland. But he's back trackside now and he's coaching the new generation of young Australian riders back in his home country. We caught up with him first, though, by asking how life has been in the COVID pandemic.
The first 3 weeks was kind of nice. Liz obviously was working full time, and then the COVID happened, so she lost her job through the COVID. So the first 3 weeks we were hanging out a lot and do the best we can. Keep focused on the goal and the dreams and do the best we can, you know. The club is where I grew up, so obviously my heart's there and a lot of great memories there. So being at the club, the continuation of helping the juniors and also helping some of the riders that are just about ready to sort of have a crack at making it to England and being a part of the European Speedway team. So obviously their excitement and their enthusiasm, because I'm down there helping out and that kind of stuff, is obviously the main factor. But at the end of the day, my main reason of being there is to help them and improve them. At the end of the day, the long run is that in 5 years of my process of being there for 5 years and helping out, some of these kids go to England and some of these kids go and race, and maybe I can give them that information that's going to make that step easier. We were very unlucky to have a rain off last February, but now we look back, it was a blessing in disguise. It was going to be a good meeting and it was all planned out well, but then obviously this November we now I got the Polish boys coming with Magic, Shemek and Peter Pavlicki, and obviously still the great talent of all the Aussie boys in Ricky, Chris, Brady, Rowan, Sam, all them guys. So looking forward to it. It's potentially the best speedway meeting that happens here in Australia at the moment. Me, Smarzix. He's the one with the most talent. He's the one with the most speed at the moment, because throughout a series people can go through speed stages, but at the moment Smarzix for sure got the speed. but he's got the most talent. He's someone that is very special. For me, Wolfie's one that's fearless. Wolfie's smart. Wolfie's confident, always very confident, always knows what he's doing. Emil's riding great. He's riding very confident. He's very tracked to the dirt line, very open to have a crack. Gating well, man, he's really turned it around. He's a great skater. He's the best in the world at the moment. So I think that's your top three for me.
Darcy Ward there, Aussie star, of course, with an absolutely fascinating chat with him. Now the action's building here, the crowds are building. It is day 2 and round 2 here at Wrocław. But before we get into tonight, let's take a look back at last week's action and the news on Planet Speedway. The Polish Ekstraliga Speedway season unbelievably is drawing to a close as Leszno and Zielona Góra battle out for the top spots and for their places in the finals. Current standings look like this as the championship heads for the final week of the regular season. Staying in Poland, the Speedway European Championship also managed to conclude their series, with the winner being given an automatic place into next year's 2021 Speedway Grand Prix Series. The honour to be the first man ever to book a place in the World Championship fell to Britain's Robert Lambert. After a hard-fought 5 rounds, he eventually won by 3 points over Denmark's Leon Madsen and Russia's Gregory Laguta. The final 3 places in the Grand Prix Series were raced out in Gorashan, Croatia at the Grand Prix Challenge last weekend. Slovenian's Mati Zagar, Sweden's Oliver Bergstrand and Poland's Krzysztof Kaszprzak took the honours and will join Robert Lambert as part of the lineup for the 2021 World Championship.
Yes, thanks, Kiri, and congratulations to all 4 of our qualifiers for the 2021 FIM Speedway Grand Prix Series. Well, let's now turn our attentions from 2 wheels to 4 back on the dirt, and it's the world of rallycross and the Project E electric car series. Let's catch up in Sweden now with Ken Block.
So I am here in Hålia, Sweden for the World Rallycross event, and I am racing in the Project E class. So this is the first rallycross event with Project E, the first premiere of this race car on track, and I am one of 3 competitors that's racing.
Ken Block lights up the rears big time. Neubauer on the outside, blocking to the side, and actually Barrett drops back. Neubauer's got the whole shot around the outside. Ken Block going to drop him behind.
So this car is very special. It is a Ford Fiesta Erx built by Stard, and it is the first electric race car to race at the world level. And it's an entirely electric platform. So big batteries, 2 motors in the rear, 1 motor in the front, and it's basically as quick as the current combustion engine supercar that we race. So the big difference between this and one of the regular supercars that we race is that, you know, the weight is quite different. The weight is, because of the batteries, the weight is quite low, but it's like 300 kilos more than the normal car that I'd race on this track. On top of that, you know, the power delivery is just much more unique. There's only 1 gear basically instead of 6 gears in the regular, you know, supercar, and that 1 gear can go up to 150 miles an hour. So you're controlling the speed, the wheel speed, instead of a gear, you know, that's set for certain miles an hour. You're dealing with the entire control of the wheel speed by your pedal. So imagine a dirt bike where you didn't have a gearbox at all. Just as hard as you turn the throttle, as fast as it would just keep going. So it's really a unique experience that I'm having to adapt to.
The Ken Block, brilliant performance by the Hoonigan. Big handful of opposite lock, fantastic looking car, and a legendary driver takes the first ever Project E win.
It was really fun. Quite a big challenge. It's such a different setup, and we're chasing setup and changing things all weekend. And yeah, I think I'm 10% of the way there, getting fully set up. But you know, it was a lot of fun. It was great being a part of something that's the future, and I think it has great possibilities. It still has a ways to go, but I think as far as the starting point, they're well on.
So congratulations to Ken, and what a start to the electric car series. Congratulations to all involved. Right, let's continue the build up to tonight's action now at the Olympic Stadium in Wrocław and round 2 of the FIM Speedway Grand Prix series. Kiri's in the stadium as our roving reporter. Kiri, it's over to you.
Well, thanks so much, Nigel, and welcome to Wrocław. Yes, it is day 2. It is round 2. The gates are open and the fans are pouring in, well, as much as they can do. Of course, it's a 50% capacity, but trust me, these fans don't hold back. There was so much magic chanting last night. We could hear it all round the stadium. Yes, we're masked. Yes, we're gloved. And I found Chris Holder. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. So, well, what did you make of last night? It was an incredible night for Artem. He had the fastest lap of the night in the final, which is just so unheard of.
Yeah, he was, he's been amazing all year in Poland as well. And yeah, he come out last night and just, made a statement really. And his starts and his speed was incredible. So I'm pretty sure he'd have been a happy boy last night, and we'll see what he can do tonight.
Well, what do you make of the back-to-back rounds that we're doing? Obviously, it's a compacted season. It's all happening over a very short amount of time. But the pressure on riders, from your league meetings, the pressure on riders, how different is it to prepare for one day after the next?
For sure. It's a massive mental drain too, You got the 16 best guys in the world going for it, every race. And to build yourself up, not just race after race, but you're doing it 2 nights in a row is really difficult. And it's going to be interesting, but I'm sure they'll be sweet.
Okay, well, last night we saw that final that we were talking about with Artem. Straight out the bat, he's just been having an amazing season so far, hasn't he?
He has. He's been, like I said, he's been dynamite in the leagues and looking really good. And yeah, last night, to win a final is a job in itself, but he didn't just win, he left them by half a straight and he looked good doing it.
Well, you know more than anybody about the Polish fans. They fill a stadium. It doesn't matter how many are here, they fill a stadium, don't they?
Oh, if there's 500 people, they make that much noise, and it's it'd be good to be a Polish rider in this environment, but all the boys are used to it. They race in the leagues, and it comes with racing in Poland. It's good.
Okay, well, looking at the sort of form of all of the other riders from last night, who did you see that you think we might see again tonight?
It's hard to say. They're all good riders, so they can all do it on their day. And the guys that probably struggled last night are obviously coming here tonight with a fresh start and wanting to learn from their mistakes or whatever. And then the guys that went good are run on massive confidence. So probably the same guys, I could say. Artem looks so good, it'd be hard to see past him again, but you can't count anybody out.
Okay, well, I know that Ty and Magic last night were saying that the track is very different to what it's normally like during the league meetings. Ty mentioned that it was sort of like the Speedway of Nations track. They said it was very slick. So, Chris, your job now is to get over to that track. I know you know exactly where the start gate is. So if you head over to the gate and tell me what that track is like. I'll leave you to head over there and I'll do a quick switch because we've also got Leon Madsen. Leon Madsen last season was just spectacular. Stepped into the Speedway Grand Prix series and just made his mark. And Leon, last night you made your mark as well. It was a pretty impressive night, an opening night. But I know coming straight back out the gate again tonight, have you changed any of your setup?
I haven't slept all night to figure out how to be faster than Artem today. So yeah, but it was an okay night yesterday. I had a pretty good meeting. Ended up as the second best after the after the meeting, and just didn't make it in the semi-final. And sometimes you need to have a little bit of luck as well in the semis. It's tough, it's the best riders in the world, and you have to do your very best. And unfortunately I didn't make it to the final, but today is a new day and we're going to try again.
Yeah, today is a new day. Well, you've already been tapping your watch at me because the engines are firing up behind. Tell me what these moments are like between this sort of last half an hour before the meeting starts. What's the feelings? Is it all just concentrating? Do the nerves start building? Can you start sort of noticing the fans, or are you fully focused?
Today I feel pretty relaxed. Yesterday I was a little bit more stressed. It's been 11 months ago since we did the last DP, so we all been waiting a long time to get back in here, and finally we are here again, and it's such a nice feeling. It's cool to be here. It's here we all want to be, and to fight about the World Championship. So it's nice to be back, and like I say, today I'm a little bit more relaxed. I feel good. My bikes are running good. I feel fit. and everything. And this track is awesome to race. It's a good racing track. Even you don't make the start, you sometimes have still a chance to pass. Though it was a bit on the wet side yesterday, I think they put a little bit too much water on it, make it a little bit difficult to move out in the dirt. It's a little bit too muddy.
Okay, well,
in my opinion, but I feel good, and yeah, like you said before, it's getting a little bit late now, and I need to change and everything. But I look forward to the meeting.
All right, well, I won't keep you any longer. Let's hope I see you back on that podium tonight. But it's time for Chris Holder. He's made it over to the start gate. So, Chris, what's that track like down there?
We're going? Yeah, how's it going?
Thanks.
So we're down at the start line here, obviously the most important part of the race. Here is quite sandy, like gate 1 here is quite hard, as you can see, but once you break through that stuff, you're going to go, you know, quite a far down. But yeah, gate 1, shortest way to the corner. It's always one of the better ones to have at the start of the meeting. But then, you know, you look out here at gate 3 and like, look at the size of that. That's so soft. And you're nearly floating on it. And same with towards 4 here is got a lot of grip. But so probably the hardest part about a track like this, you're running quite a small sprocket on the back because it's so long. But at the same time, you need to be able to get this thing off the start, and having that much grip there is going to really make the bike struggle. But Laguta seems to have it dialed, so we'll see how he goes. But yeah, we'll see what tonight brings. Back to you, Kiri.
Thanks so much, Chris. Well, it is really interesting to see, of course, Artem taking that white gate in the final last night. So who is going to be in the final tonight? Well, before we get there, we have got a whole lot of action to get through. Can it be the Russian rocket again? Or, well, who could it be tonight? There's 2 Russians battling it out. And, of course, it's Magic's hometown, so Magic's name will be chanted out here. You better be sticking with us. Well, it's about that time that I hand back to Nigel and Kelvin in the studio.
Thanks, Kiri. Now, earlier you'll have seen Ty Woofenden setting you all a challenge, the juggling challenge. You've been sending your entries in and they have been impressive. Let's take a look at some of them.
Ty Woofenden's juggling challenge.